Welcome back to Moderating Life, DLG's 20th anniversary podcast. This is episode 4, and this time we're going to a very different place than last week.
Last time, it was about tequila, unexpected interruptions, and a client love story. This time, it's the heart.
Because research doesn't just capture what people think, it captures how people feel. And sometimes we find people telling us something that they've never told anyone. And those are the moments that really stay with us. Because there's this idea that research is all about data, structure, objectives. And yes, all of that is truth. But it's also deeply human.
The conversations we have can be surprising, funny, but also very raw.
Like I always say, research is not therapy, but it can often feel therapeutic, not only for participants, also for us. So let's get into it.
Okay.
And I want to start this episode talking about one particular story that really is unforgettable for me. We were doing research in the HIV category. We were talking to people living with HIV. So, the subject by itself,
It's
tough because we were learning about the awareness, the anger, the acceptance, and all of the phases of living with a disease, not only HIV. But anyways, I was talking with this participant, HIV positive. From the outside, he was Hispanic, and he looked very rough and tough. He had tattoos, beard, he had been in jail. He was
Like a rough
tough guy.
appearance, tough guy.
Yes. But, we started talking about his life. And when we started talking about his family and his background, that's when it really hit. Something shifted. He really opened up, and he was telling me about how the hardest moment in his life was not finding out that he had HIV, was not being in jail. Not even close. The hardest part for him was the rejection that his family had towards him when they found out that he was gay.
Oh, my goodness.
It was just heartbreaking because he was such a beautiful soul and he loved his family. But, we talked about cultural stigmas and all of that. And he just had such a heavy weight on his shoulders.
Yeah.
I have to be honest, but that is the only time that I cried during a session. Of course, I not sobbing necessarily, but I just couldn't hold my tears.
Of course, we're moved. We move at those stories.
I just wanted to hug him and tell him, you are being seen, you are loved.
Oh, how wonderful.
It was just, I will never, like even just remembering right now, it
You
pulls a
relieve it.
string.
You relieve it, of course,
Yes.
of course.
It is
I have
tough.
one story like that is also a heartbreaker. We were doing research with Hispanic families, with couples, husband and wife, for a national bank, big bank, lots of business in home loans. And this is around 2008, right when the housing crisis happened and the industry was lending a lot of money with incredible terms, ballooning payments, crazy interest rates, etc. And, we know what happened to the housing market around those times.
Of course.
So our client took a stand, and he was a little bit more cautious when lending. And as a consequence of that, they had a lot of rejections. And when the industry is celebrating home ownerships and people see commercials of here are your keys and our first home and balloons and all of that, the client wanted to understand how people felt about being rejected and what was the brand impact of a rejection. I clearly remember this couple. They were young. They were doing everything right. We were talking not in a traditional focus group setting. We actually did a living room style with a couple of comfortable couches and soft lighting and tea and coffee to make them feel very comfortable at home. So, we started talking about it, and then we got to the moment of rejection. And it was so tough because she started crying.
Oof, because I mean, I can only imagine. I mean, to them, it's not only the loan, it's the dream, you know? It's,
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially because they've been doing everything right.
yeah.
He worked in construction. After, years of doing that, he started his own small construction firm and he's doing everything right. And the wife was such a great steward of their money. They protected everything, they did everything right. And her crying, it was not a sob. It was just a quiet, emotional,
Mm.
defeated cry.
Oh, that's the toughest one.
It was so tough. And the way the husband, grabbed her hand and started telling me, but mainly telling her that perhaps it was not the time, that the dream was not over, that they were going to keep doing what they've been doing for so many years, hoping to achieve that American dream. But at that moment of rejection, they felt defeated. Like, we're trying to do everything right. Why we
Yeah.
cannot have this American dream?
But you know, the way that the husband grabbed her hand, it tells a lot of the relationships, right? I mean, the Hispanic community often faces disappointments, but the hope is still there. It's not
Absolutely.
yet. It's a not yet.
And often I think, if looking back, they are thankful that they did not get a loan back in those days with the housing market. And it was so many people lost their homes and they got into loans that they couldn't pay. So that was a very touching story.
Yes, yes. I mean, really, over these 20 years that we've been doing this, so many stories. And it really is when a participant opens up and when they start talking about something that often they have no idea that they have those feelings inside. I mean, and I go back to talking to men. Really, I find myself often talking to construction workers or people that work on
Tough
the field.
guys, yes.
And they've never been asked, how do you feel? You know, they are just providers. They're working long hours. They go to work, they come back, they see their family, and then the next day, all over again. So they are not used to talking to their feelings.
Or to share their feelings, to share their emotions.
Yes, and there's this barrier, right? I mean, so once you break that barrier,
it's gold.
It's gold, and we often, like I mentioned, we often have men with tears in their eyes because they never had that space.
That safe space to talk about their emotions.
Yes,
and
yes,
the humanness of it. That's fantastic. Another story that really shows the humanity and that is stick with me and define me as a moderator. It's a project that we did for the Secretary of the State of Texas. We were trying to understand the barriers to voting across different ethnicities and economic lines, but also across different abilities. It's very important for the state to hear from voters from all kinds. So we were tasked with conducting research with a group of people with different sensorial and physical requirements. So we had people that were blind, we had people that were deaf, and we had people with mobility limitations, quadriplegics. And we were not doing one-on-one interviews. This was a focus group. So we had people with different needs and different realities
in the same
room.
Uh-huh.
So needless to say, I was a little bit nervous because I wanted to make sure that I was kind to them and that I was using the correct language. And as you know, as moderators, there's certain habits that you develop when someone shares something and it's interesting, you affirm it. You make them feel heard, make them feel good by saying, okay, I hear you. I see you.
Oh, I see.
And I am saying those things. I hear you. I see you in a group full of people that did not have those abilities. And I caught myself and my brain started spiraling. And I was so nervous until one person who was blind stopped me and said, Ed, we get it. we know we cannot
Oh,
see.
the kindness in people.
Don't worry about it. Keep doing what you're doing. Oh, and
He gave
that,
you permission to continue.
Of
And
course.
that's amazing. That's a
that
beautiful
lifted,
story.
that
Yes.
lifted a heavy burden off my shoulder. And at that moment, to be honest, they were moderating me. So it felt, after that, the group felt fantastic. It was very productive. And we learned so much how these people have to plan their whole day around exercising their right to vote.
Wow. And then we have people that take it for granted.
Absolutely. We had just come off from another session where people forgot or didn't have time. And these people had to plan for parking, plan for finding a polling station that had wheelchair ramps or that had people that are willing to help them. It was a very humbling experience.
I mean, talk about resilience, determination, and to be honest with you, love for your country.
Absolutely. Love for democracy. Yeah, yeah.
But now let's be real. Not all stories are heartbreaking or funny. Some stories are simply frustrating. Because as much as we talk about feelings and honesty, there's people that are simply not honest.
Yeah. Good old liars.
Yes, call them what they are. And in these 20 years with DLG Research, we've had our share of liars. We've had participants that lie to be recruited, right? And then in a group, you have them they're supposed to be, for example, users of a particular product. And then you find out that they don't even know the product.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating.
Exactly. Or the ones that say they've never done focus group before, and you walk in 3 projects later and you see them there. I see you, Armando.
There's an Armando in every market.
Absolutely. But honestly, it's just not participants.
No, of course, no. There's also dishonesty in some recruiters as well. When they tell you they are going for fresh participants, new, and then you find yourself recognizing some faces in your group.
Yeah, and they're using the same recruiting list that they've been using for decades.
And let's not forget the coaching.
Oh,
when
my God,
they
that's
are
the worst.
told
What to say.
by the recruiter what to say in order to be recruited, it's just so frustrating and defeats the whole purpose of the research.
Yeah, and sometimes dishonesty comes from the client side. Brands trying to squeeze every dollar out of the consumer, pushing strategies that serve the bottom line more than the customer.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, we understand we're all for profits, but there's a line, a very real line between what people want and what they actually need. And crossing that line is really where brands lose their customers.
And this is where experience comes in. Over 2 decades, we've learned to spot those red flags. We build system, processes, safeguards, but more than that, we've built relationships.
Yes, great relationships with partners we trust in all cities across all U.S. markets, really, but also internationally in Mexico, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Costa Rica.
People who got our backs, people who share our values, people that we trust, people that would tell us if something is off or if something needs fixing because, we make mistakes.
But the good thing is that we own them and we learn from them. And we have built a business that's stronger, sharper, and more ethical because of those mistakes.
Absolutely. That's how we continue to deliver our promise of insightful research, actionable results.
And above all, integrity, because that's what keeps you in business for 20 years. And counting.
And counting.
Yes. And like I said at the beginning, research is not therapy, but it can be deeply healing when people feel seen and heard and they say things that they've never said out loud. There's a release.
And as moderators, we have to balance stay present, stay professional, but also stay human.
Yeah, it's okay to be moved, to feel that lump in your throat, because we hold a lot of stories and we honor them and we hold them gently.
So if you're out there listening, and you've ever shared your story in a focus group or an interview, thank you.
Next time, we'll be back with something a little lighter, but this one needed to be told.
Thank you for listening. From your friends at DLG Research. Insightful research.
Actionable results. See you next time.